Good morning, everybody. Oh, this is nice. There's a response. I feel better already. My name is Doris Rusch, and I am brand new faculty here at the Game Design Department. And just to make sure I don't get bored, they gave me lots of things to do, and one of them is the honor to open this conference. So it is a very special honor to be here. And usually, the interesting part would follow from there, but I am still coming to grips with what here actually means, in contrast to where I came from. So only 6 weeks ago, I was faculty at DePaul University in Chicago. So was my husband, Misha, who's also now faculty here, and our son, Max, who is not faculty anywhere, but goes to a Vorschkola. It's very exciting, he's 4. And we lived in a 28th floor high-rise, and we taught in the Chicago Loop, where the elevated, that's a train, is running around on these poles. And when you teach in certain classrooms, you train yourself to pause every 5 minutes because you cannot hear a damn thing because there's the train going by. So that's the setting. And then I was invited to the Gotland Games Conference for the first time 2 years ago to give a talk, because apparently I had something to say. And now I'm here, and I blame you for that. It's your fault. Well, if you're first year, no, it's not your fault, but everybody else's fault. And I have learned to blame effectively, so I blame you for sending me on an awesome adventure. Thank you for that. So I first stepped into this building 2 years ago, and I saw these arcade machines. I was like, holy crap. What is this? And I went to Adam, my good friend here, who's also to blame most of all, probably, and said, okay, so run this by me. You have a 10-year bachelor's, is that correct? And this is the work of 5 years? And he said, oh, those are our first years. Uh-huh. And those games that are on screens, the vertical slice, they took a year to develop, right? Surely. I was like, oh, 10 weeks. Okay. So I went back to Chicago, and I was teaching Capstone at the time. Capstone is a 2-quarter course that the undergraduate game design students take as their final project. They have a 4-year education. And I didn't want to make them feel bad, because they work hard, they're good people, they just have a very different context of development, very urban setting, and excuses. And I sat down, and I loaded up the classroom computer, and I started showing them trailers from the games that I've seen here, one after the other. And it got quieter and quieter and quieter. And then he just looked at me and said, why did you do this to us? And I said, yeah, so you know what you're up against. So you know what can be done in 10 weeks. You had twice the time. But there are a lot of reasons why things happen like they happened there, and why things happen like they happen here. And let's not kid ourselves. I have no illusion that everything here is fairy dust and unicorns. It definitely seems that way when you just come to the conference and you ignore the swearing of people whose games are just breaking. And hopefully this is not happening too often today. But I understand that there are challenges everywhere. Every place you go to has challenges. And education, like game design, is never perfect. But I saw a lot of potential and excitement, and I was just really so eager to have more exchanges with all of you and figure out, how are you doing this? The production value is amazing, and there's so much innovation, and your arcades are just, it blew my mind. Anyways, I'm here. And I know things could be better. They can always be better. There could always be more time for one. 10 weeks, really, always. Better feedback, more support, better infrastructure, more lab spaces and labs that are not destroyed by construction workers while you're making a game. Better machines, quicker help when stuff isn't working. More specialized courses maybe, more skills training. More sleep. So every place has its challenges. And it's easy to get hung up on all the things that aren't working or are not ideal, and it is valuable and legit to talk about that and to get that feedback and to strive to improve. But I also think it is very important to stay optimistic and to have a vision that is not blind to the main stakeholders, to the students most of all, but also to the university context, to the faculty, to society at large. It cannot be blind to trends and tendencies in the games industry either. So vision has to have one eye on what is now, but the other eye has to turn towards what could be. Where do we want things to go? How do we want to push the boundaries of games as a medium or game development as a space for people to thrive in? In what ways could we make games that society is not demanding yet, and in ways that players don't know they want yet? And in what ways could we innovate that technology might not be ready yet? So you can always teach somebody Unity or Unreal or whatever engine is on vogue right now, and you can always improve your drawing or texturing or rigging skills. And these things are super important. And you seem to be learning them rather well. For whatever miraculous reason, your stuff looks good. It's not that miraculous. You have awesome faculty and you put in the work. That's, I think, the miracle. But it's not the entire reason why I'm here. What got me really, really excited, because I haven't had that in a while, and I missed it, was that I saw that there was research being done here as well. I saw your bachelor thesis work. And I know after having exhibited an arcade and getting a lot of exposure and having exhibited a vertical slice and having had people play, and then you write a bachelor thesis. And for some, that's kind of a dramaturgic, but it is incredibly exciting what I saw some of you do with that and take it as an opportunity to put research in the service of design. And I had the privilege of being an examiner for a few of your thesis works and to talk to some of you in more depth about what you're doing. And there was a team who is exploring how to create safe spaces to enact gender roles that are not stereotypical and make that as part of their research in D&D. Or a team who worked on a horror game and made several versions to see what impact audio design has on the player experience. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that I've been missing and that I'm excited to see here. Because this kind of fruitful integration of theory and practice is what sets a university education apart from a trade school. And I'm not dissing trade schools. I think there are good things to be said, and that's important. But if we want to see the next leaders of the field to emerge, we have to think beyond what's there. We have to think beyond what we already know. So people who are well-rounded, who can combine creativity with scientific rigor, and who know who they are, who have a voice, who know what they want to make, for whom, how, and most importantly, why. That's what I see potential for here, and that's what gives me goosebumps. It allows us, this combination of theory and practice, to look forward, to not be reactive to trends and player demands, and instead step into our responsibility as creators of an expressive art form that has become the most socio-culturally relevant medium of the 21st century. How's that for a big statement? To question and challenge the status quo, to create more diverse, inclusive, reflective games, to be mindful of how we represent gender and ability or disability, to consider how we can empower players rather than just seeing them as consumers. This doesn't just make for better games, it does make for a better society, it makes for a better world. And the world is, dare I say it, a little troubled, and the games industry, as this conference theme will illustrate, and you know, is a little troubled. And there are so many challenges everywhere. Mental health issues rising, and it's not because of an increase in psychiatric diseases. It's because we have forgotten how to live, because we create working environments that are just downright unhealthy. We don't know how to relate and connect deeply anymore, to have conversations with people, to have meaning and purpose and a sense of agency. We forgot how to play. So that's also one of your jobs. And we easily get trapped in a destructive loop of reacting to external influences. But, and this is the good news, as game designers, I think we are agents of change. champions of change. We can envision and create alternatives. That's what we do. Alternative worlds, alternative ways of acting and being, alternative systems, alternative experiences, alternative representations of what's out there, what has been done, what we think is normal. We see how things connect. If, then, that's our bread and butter. If we don't know that, who does? We are uniquely predisposed to take on great big challenges, and we are better equipped to do so when we engage in systematic, methodical, informed processes, have substantial, wide and rich sources to draw from, and know how to leverage them for our various goals. We need to think big, keep learning, know how to gather information and what to do with it to enrich people's lives with new games that facilitate new perspectives and experiences. And with those skills, we can construct a future-proof career, because I think one thing is for sure, we will never run out of problems to solve. So here I am, here we are, and I'm eager to get to know all of you better, to learn from you, to begin a dialogue or continue a dialogue. And I thank you for opening your ranks to me, and this brings me to a very important pragmatic point for this conference. Opening the ranks, letting other people, other perspectives join in. It's so important. It's a main skill game designers, everybody actually, game designers, should have. So when you stand anywhere around any of the games or have discussions, stand in the shape of Pac-Man. That means you leave a spot open for people to join. Break up the cliques. Make it easy for people to join the conversation. When somebody does, you expand the circle again, make room for the next person. So you always remain inclusive. And now to something completely different. Had this really good dramaturgy planned out, and then Ulf said, well, remind them of this, this, and that. So I will. There are 2 microphones. After the talks we will hear, not mine, no questions there. There are 2 microphones in the middle. And please, so in these rows, please use them when you have questions so everybody can hear you. And should you have lost an item, a phone, you know who you are, or other stuff, you can find that at the reception. So, pragmatics out of the way, I would invite you to give yourself, your team members, your faculty, your audience, a big round of applause for the hard work, the learning, the accomplishment, and I open the Gotland Game Conference 2019.